everybody. Wow, what a week it's been. Welcome back. I know it's Sunday, but here we go. That's how we are. In my circles, we call it Irish time, right? But I had a nice visit with my family this week. I hadn't seen them since Christmas of 2019, so apologies, but hopefully you'll forgive me here. So I've been giving it some thought, and I thought maybe a good foundational aspect of Irish music might be the actual notes we use, like scales, right? And let's just start really simple. Like we've all probably done, if you're a fiddle player, you've been playing the A major scale for a while, and it sounds like this. Okay, A major. Two things to worry about there. A means it starts on A and it wants to end on A. More on that later. And major refers to the mode. Okay, a mode is a pattern of whole steps and half steps. So for instance, A to B is a whole step. B to C sharp is a whole step. C sharp to D is a half step. And I'm not going to go into all those patterns in too much detail, but if I started on D, for instance, whole step, half step. So that's something all major scales have in common. And, there are other modes too. Most commonly in Western classical music, you're going to find minor. Okay, and minor is a little different from major. Okay, so the way I was taught was using something called scale degrees. So whatever the pattern is for major scales, you're just going to call it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, sen, 1. And it's sen because 7 has 2 syllables, and if you want to sing the note, you just want the 1 syllable. So thank you to Dr. Tom Wood and the rest of the faculty, music faculty at the College of Worcester. It's carrying on. So here we go. So A major scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, sen, 1. And I'm going to apologize in advance again. These numbers are not finger numbers. They are scale degrees. They come with a cool little hat like this. Okay, cool. So if I could speak with a font, I would, but this is what we've got. So, and then let's go back down. 1, sen, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Cool. In a minor key, we're going to lower the 3rd note, the 6th note, and the 7th note by a half step. Okay? See if you can follow me here. We're going to do A minor. And A minor, let's see, instead of saying 3, we're going to say thra. And that, I guess it's a little bit like speaking in a font, isn't it? Right? So you take it down a half step. All right? Let's give it a go. I'll go nice and slow. So here's 1, whole step to 2, half step to thra. That means C natural instead of C sharp. Whole step to 4, whole step to 5. Let's see, half step to socks instead of 6. So that's a low 1. This is going to be a low 2, but it's a whole step, believe it or not, because, let's see, a son, it's going to be, instead of sen, it'll be son. And then another whole step, which is 1. Let's go back down, see if we can follow that one. So it's 1, whole step to son, whole step to socks, half step to 5, whole step to 4, whole step to low 2, C natural, thra, half step to 2, which is first finger, B, whole step to open A. So that was minor, right? Cool. So you've got major, you've got minor. We've done these probably a fair bit, but did you know that there's more than one mode? They have all these things called the church modes. If you start on any of the white keys on the piano and just play all those white keys, those give you different patterns of whole steps and half steps. Amazing. So if you start on C, you'll see the patterns of whole steps and half steps for major. If you start on A, you'll see the patterns of whole steps and half steps for minor. But there's two more that I'm concerned about in Irish music, and those are Mixolydian and Dorian. Um, Mixolydian, I like to think of as sort of like major, but it has a lowered seventh. Okay, it sounds a little bit minor, a little bit interesting, you know. And so let's do A that way. So it's A, so 1, 2, whole step to 3, half step to 4, 5, 6, half step to son, and then whole step to 1. It's maybe not super satisfying, but it is very cool as tunes go. All right, so that's an A Mixolydian scale. The next one down, as we inch our way towards minor, is Dorian. And Dorian is the same as Mixolydian, except that you add the lowered third. So no 3, we're going to thra. So we'll go A, so scale degree 1, 2, half step to thra, 4, 5, 6, son, 1. Oh, that's starting to get really cool, isn't it? There's a lot of different ways you can think about this. That could be Dorian and Mixolydian are twins, except Mixolydian has a raised 3, so it sounds major to start, and Dorian has a lowered third, so it sounds minor to start. Another way you could do it is Dorian is a version of minor. It just has a raised 6th. Ooh, check that out. So let's see. Guess the key. So you hold out for that 6th, and then you can figure out if it's minor or Dorian, right? So Dorian, minor. Isn't that fun? I dare you to kind of go out on a limb and try this out a bit. Let's see. I think you're ready now for my my big rainbow chart. Okay, I'm actually going to leave so you can see this. Okay, here it is. Boom! This is my giant rainbow chart of common keys and scales in Irish music. You might have noticed by now I am fairly visual, and I like my rainbows and such because I can tell the order of such things. I know that it goes red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, and I guess we're going to throw a little kind of pink color in there too. So you'll see, in order to kind of read this chart, on the left it says major, Mixolydian, Dorian, and minor. Those are our modes, right? And across on the x-axis there, you'll see this like 2, it looks like a lowercase b. That's meant to be a flat. Okay, that's a half step lower. And you'll also see some kids these days call them hashtags or pound signs if you like. Those are sharps, and those raise your note a half step higher there. So a key and a scale are largely the same. Like say, what key is it in? And then you can play the scale of it, which are the actual notes themselves. A key requires, like I said, a tonic, so a note that you're starting on, and a mode. So if you go ahead and look at, let's say, A major. So go find major, go find A, and you'll see that A major has 3 sharps, F sharp, C sharp, and G sharp. Handy that. Let's say you listen to a tune and you're like, geez, this only has 2 sharps. Okay, well, let's see. I only heard a C sharp and an F sharp. Well, then you go find that 2 sharp column there and see if you can decide for yourself if it's a major sound, a Mixolydian sound, Dorian sound, or a minor sound. You can try all of those out. Perhaps even figure out what note it wants to end on. What's that mean? Do you guys remember, oh, those britches full of stitches? Here, you can come back to see me. Hi! Oh, those britches full of stitches, and the B part. So it ends on an E, and we have a lot of options for E. And I would argue that this tune sounds pretty darn major, so your options are either 3 sharps or 4 sharps, right? Oh, that's fun. And it ends on an E. That's kind of crazy. Um, but here's the thing, it's not very satisfying on the E. It's very satisfying on A. If it were E major, you would need a D sharp. I haven't played a D at all yet. This is very ambiguous. Wow! Okay, well, don't be too concerned or confused because this happens all the time in Irish music where there are fewer notes than there are notes in the typical scale. A full scale has 7 notes. And most of the time we're gonna, not most of the time, but a lot of the time we're gonna have hexatonic scales. Hexa meaning 6. And what's so much fun about that is a lot of times that missing note is like a third or a sixth or a seventh or something, usually a sixth. And you have no idea, which scale it's going to be, except you can tell which note is comfortable to end on, right? So that B part. That A is so much more comfortable. If you're into experimentation, you can also see if you can fit that D sharp in there and see if it sounds halfway decent. D natural sounds far superior. Did you notice that triplet there? Well, not 2/16 and an eighth, but a treble. Just call it a treble. No big deal. So many variations, so many options. You guys know a lot now, I think. Boy, there was so much there. Okay, so I'm going to leave you for now, I think. Oh, I did want to touch on one other thing. So sometimes you'll hear guitar players or, tune players say, oh, this tune is modal. And we've just talked about, 4 different modes, and you might say, okay, well, which mode is it? You can't just say modal. That doesn't make sense. And most of the time what they're referring to is that ambiguity, or we're not sure if it's like mixed Lydian or Dorian or minor, because of that sixth, or another note even. Sometimes you'll even end up with pentatonic tunes, 5 notes, like that's all you get, or 5 notes, and boy, rely on your best abilities to figure out what the tonic is, the note that it wants to end on, and there you go. So you have a job. Your job is to go and check out all the tunes that you know, whether they're ones that I've taught you or ones that you've learned on your own, and check out those notes that you're playing. Write them down, do a little analysis, and go and check out my rainbow chart here. And maybe I'll post it in my supplemental material so that you have it separate, and you can see, give it your best guess as to what key it's in. Try it out. Keep in mind that you might disagree with someone, or you might, you might be very confused, but at least you have a leg up here, I think. So I'll stop talking now, and maybe I'll start preparing my next week because I'm so far behind. Ugh, thanks everybody though, and we'll just see you, I hope, on Friday. So enjoy your scales. We'll see ya.